I'm going to show you when I make the projects instead. So tonight's project is this one. If I bring it up a little bit closer so you can see it. So where are we? There we are. So as you can see, it's using the Freezing Fun stamp set on the Freezing Friends dies. I might got that the other wrong way around. Is it Freezing Friends stamp set and Freezing Fun dies? No, it's Freezing Fun stamp set and Freezing Friends dies. And I've also teamed up with the Snowflake Wishes to make this background here. So tonight's main purpose is to show you how I made the background, as all the rest of it is just blends, colouring and some die cutting. So we'll crack on with this, and if my technology works in the meantime, then I might actually start answering your comments. Hi ladies. So let's have a look. Let's see if I can get it working. It's flagging up comments, so there must be something somewhere. Oh, there we go. There we go. We get there in the end. Right, ladies, I can actually see what you're saying now. Okay, so first things first, the supplies. So I'm using thick Whisper White for the base, and that's just because once you've done a bit of inking, and I'm using sponging on this, so once you've rubbed the sponges across a little bit, you get it doesn't weaken the paper as such, but the heat embossing can sometimes give it a bit of a crinkle or a bit of a warp. So I've put on a bit of thick just to give it that extra bit of stability once you've made it. And thick is obviously made for card bases because it stands up better. So thick Whisper White for the base, and all I've done is cut that in half and then scored it in half. So on UK A4, that's cutting it at 5 7/8. 5 7/8 that way. So if your paper was there, 5 7/8, and then I've scored it at 4 1/8, and that's my base. So I'll pop that to one side. The background itself will be on a piece of normal Whisper White, and this is 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. Then you'll see this stitched little snow scene here is on a piece that is 5 7/8 by 1 1/2. Yeah, that's right, 1 1/2 by 5 7/8. So we'll be cutting that out soon, so I'll pop that to one side. And then I've got a scrap, and this is just for my stamping, so that we can do some die cutting. And in a moment, when we get to the die cutting, I'll be able to show you the new machine, because mine arrived today. Okay, so let's get started. So first things first, we need some Versamark, and I am using a gorgeous snowflake stamp set from the Snowflake Wishes. So this is the stamp set we're using, and I haven't gone for any of the big ones. I've gone for one that's got quite a few differing snowflakes on it. So as you can see, we've got all the different ones in the background, like a snow flurry would be. So that's what we've got here. We're using this one, and because we're going to be heat embossing, I've got Versamark, and I've got this on a block that is a B block. And then all we're going to do, and I don't know how well you'll see this on the camera, so I apologise if all you're seeing is me stamping nothing. I promise you I am. Is random stamp it on the background there. And I don't know how well you will be able to see it. Hopefully my light's catching that there for you. In fact, before I go on, I've missed that corner, but we're going to put a bit of the Emboss buddy over the rest of my card, because I missed the first bit. And this just takes some of that natural grease that you've just got in your hands away and stops all the powder when we do come to heat emboss it. Right, let's see. My comments working properly. They are. Good stuff. We like that. So, continue your random stamping. I'll try not to get my head in the camera. Can't promise anything though. Let's have a look. So all I'm doing is, as I'm random stamping, is I'm just twisting the stamp as we go around, so that we can get a differing pattern in the background, and it doesn't all look planned and so forth. The snow flurry isn't exactly planned, is it? I love the snow. I love driving in the snow. There's not many people I know that do like that, but yeah, I like driving in the snow. I could be a ploughman, I really could. Is it on The Simpsons where they have Mr. Plough? I could do that. Love driving around in the snow. Right, well, how far have I got? There we go. Just go there. And last couple. So we need one there, then one more. And there. Hopefully you can see that well enough. Let's see. Pop those out of the way. See if I can show you on camera properly. I don't know how well it's going to show up. There, you can just about see it. So that's all randomly stamped across. So now this is where we're going to add our embossing powder. So I've got a sheet that I've just folded in half, and this is just so it'll catch the powder once I've put it on. So I keep mine in this gorgeous purple tub, but this is just plain white stamping emboss powder. And then see if I can get my hand under it. We're just going to generously sprinkle it on. In fact, I'm just going to sprinkle all of it on because I've got barely any left anyway. And then we shimmy it about the card. Make sure it takes on all of that stamping that we've just done. And sprinkle my fingers as well. That's taken lovely, so you probably will see that pattern a bit better now. So before we heat and emboss out, let's just gather all this up and get it back in the tub. I wouldn't be lying if I said I haven't in the past done that, and I have turned on the heating tool and I've created a right mess. Yes, I have. Right, pop that out of the way. Right, okay, so I will warn you now, if you've got your sound up, you might want to turn it down a touch. I'm just going to get my emboss tool out, my heat tool out, and it will make a little bit of noise. So we'll get this on. So I'll get that warming up behind me in a minute. And then all we're going to do is heat that up so that the powder almost melts in effect and becomes all nice and shiny, so that when we put our colours over it, it will resist the ink, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment. See if we get warm enough, and then get some tweezers somewhere. I'm sure I have. No, fingers it is. So I'm going to just hold one corner so not to get my greasy mitts everywhere. And then I just start in one of the corners. Now heat underneath as well. Heating underneath as well as on top just stops the paper from warping too much. There we go, it's starting to turn. Be careful as you do this because it is really, really hot. Hence why I've got it held at the furthest corner. Try not to burn yourselves. I think that's us done. Just have a quick check. I think we're done. Yep, we are. So just pop that away. And there we go. You'll see that better now. It's all shiny. So that's his background. And all I need to do now is just work out which way round I want the pattern to be. Pick your best bit for the top, because you're going to be hiding part of the bottom anyway under the little snow scene. So to do this, on this one I picked blues, so I'm just going to do the same this time. So we've gone Night of Navy, Pacific Point, Balmy Blue and Seaside Spray. So that's what we're going to do now. And what I do is, I want that to be that way round, but because I'm right-handed I prefer to sponge from the right, so I'm just gonna turn it to the right way. So ink pad like you would normally. And then these are the stamping sponges that you get in the catalogue, and all I've done is cut them into quarters, and then I've used one per colour, like so. I don't know if I've got them two wrong way around. Yeah. And then dab it into your ink pad like you would when you're stamping, and then just from the right, I start off of the paper first and then I ink onto it. And then because I've got 4 colours, I know I can go approximately a quarter in with this colour. I like to do it in circles just because just from my experience, it gets a bit of a better colour when you're rubbing it on. Try and get it nice and even if you can. And then what I do is I turn it round, and on the clean side, like so, I just rub it over again, because you can get a slight discoloration on the white embossing powder, but if you rub a clean sponge over it, you can get it back to almost white. So that's the Night of Navy. Also got it all over me. You get a lovely mess when you make this as well. So next, Pacific Point, and then we're just doing the same, getting that sponge, except this time we're going to start ever so slightly on the Night of Navy so that we can get a bit of a blend going. And again, I can take this one up to pretty much the halfway point and just blending it in. And it's so easy to do, and you get different results every time. So whilst I'm doing the same colours as the example I showed you, the actual backgrounds will be completely different, because your stamping's different, your blending will be different. I'll show you one that my daughter made. She saw me doing this and wanted to have a go herself. So she's 13, so you can kind of guess what kind of thing she may have used, but I'll show you her example in a moment. And then like before, just get the clean side, and as much as you can, try and just get that ink back off the snowflakes. It just gives it a bit of a brighter appearance. And there we go, so that's the Pacific Point done. Next we're on to Balmy Blue. And again, I'm going to start ever so slightly on the Pacific Point and then blend out from there. I like to concentrate on the line where the previous colours ended, just so we can get as natural a blend as possible, and then I start to move away from it. Like so. And then the lighter the colour you go, the less of rubbing it back off of the stamp that you have to, the ink that you have to do. So I'm just going to quickly rub a clean bit down. There we go. And then my final colour will be Seaside Spray. And this will go, I turn it back around at this point just because I love to put my hand all over it and smudge it otherwise. Not in a good way. So again, sponging the ink pad, slightly on the previous colour, and now I can blend to the end. Oh, I've had a burst in people watching. Hello, if you've just joined. So for those that have just joined, this is what we're making. And then, as before, just concentrating on that blend line a bit, getting a nice even coverage. Been making a lot of these recently, so I think my Balmy Blue needs re-inking. And there we go, there's our background. I'm just going to do a quick wipe with the clean side of my sponge just on those snowflakes, get some of that wet ink back off. But there we go, that's our background. And now, because this paper is going to annoy the life out of me, I'm just going to take that away. Right, okay, so that is our background, and that's going to go exactly like this one did on this card. We're not going to put it on the base yet because I'm just going to let it dry a little bit. So we're going to turn our attention to our little characters here. So my scrap of Whisper White. Oh, not a problem, Karen, I'll see you later. So we've got a penguin, we've got 4 little trees that we need to be stamping. I've already done 3 of the trees because I didn't want you to just sit there watching me do the same thing over and over again. So we need to do the 4th tree when we need to do the penguin himself. So I've got Memento ink and I've got my little tree. So the little tree is from Freezing Fun. So there is 2 trees and I'm using the smaller one. Using this little penguin guy here. And in a moment we also shall be using the matching dies. So we need one of these. And then we need one little penguin, which I'll do this way around. Because it's a little bit easier. We need one of him. Like so. Pop those away. Lid back on Memento. Okay, so now the exciting part. Today, in a timely manner, my new cut and emboss machine arrived. So here's for the grand unveiling. Look at this. And I know Karen, who unfortunately has just had to go, showcased hers not long ago, and I have to concur in that it is so light and it's so easy to use, and it's, I mean, my big shot was almost at retirement age anyway, older than me I think mine was, but I felt like I had to really crank the handle to get things through it, whereas this one earlier, I mean I'll show you now as well, just a nice easy movement. I mean, you just like this with it. In fact, move it up a little bit so you can see the handle, and I'll show you. It's effortless. Okay, so to die cut, all these plates are now numbered, which makes life so easy for us. So you always need your number 1. Your number 1's your main platform. It also has some amazing little pictures here just to let you know how to form the sandwiches. So this is the first one, which is the die cutting. You've then got your 2 embossing ones. So this is whether you're embossing with a standard folder or whether you're using a 3D folder. So for die cutting, we need plate number 2, which is the thin die adapter. And then we've got 2 cutting plates, so we'll put one of those in first. And then we'll get our penguin and tree on here. So these are the Freezing Friends dies. This is the stitched one that makes that little snow scene. Where's my penguin? My penguin's over here, and then we're using the smallest tree as well. So I'll get my other scrap of Whisper White as well. Hopefully I've got this right. Now the only thing I do miss at the moment is the magnetic plates not quite ready. So it will be out soon, no need to panic, but just don't know when as yet. So I'm doing this a bit backwards. I should have coloured my little penguin in first. It's not to worry. Right, let's see if I can keep these in place whilst not having any magnetic platform or washi tape to hand. She says, is my head in that camera? I bet it is. So there we go, and then you need your top cutting plate. This is where I knock them all. Put it down carefully. And then in it goes, and as you can see, look, I don't even need to help it through. Just keep it steady so I don't make your camera bloody shake around and make you all seasick. There we go. So that's gone through there, lovely. And then the best bit, once you've done all that, you can just pop up these sides like so. And there you go. And this is the standard size, so if you think this is lovely and compact, you'll love when the mini one comes out. So then in our plate here, we've got our little stitched effort. And the good thing is, if you line that up half and half, you can get two out of that. So that's our snow scene. Pop my die back. We've got our lovely little tree. We've got our little penguin. So I'll pop them there, and then I'll move these out of the way. So I'm going to colour this little guy and the final tree. So for the tree, I'm using Just Jade, and I'm using, I think it's Light Pull Party. Yes, it is. It's Light Pull Party. And all I'm doing is, you can see on the tree here, there's like snow caps where it's snowed and the snow's settled on the tree. So all I'm doing with the dark is going under the snow and then down the left. Under the snow, down the left. And the same at the bottom here. Under the snow, down the left. And then we'll get our light Just Jade and fill that in. Like so. And then I always think if you leave where the snow is white, it doesn't quite come across as being snow. I know that might sound strange, but I always think snow has a bit of a bluey glisten to it. So all I'm doing is going down the left and then across the bottom on these larger bits of snow, and it just gives it a bit of a, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's like a bit of texture, a bit of dimension, I don't know. So there you go, see, I don't know how good you can see that, but it just gives it that bit of texture. And I've got all four of those, so I've got my other three up here, like so, so we've got those ready. So for the little penguin himself, I'm using Cherry Cobbler for his hat and scarf. I'm using Basic Black for his body, and I've got the Dark Mango Melody for his beak and for his feet. So I'll quickly give him a colour in. That's his beak. 1 foot. There's 2. So get my dark basic black first, and then I just colour in little bits where I think there'll be shadow, so like where his where his arm is, where his scarf sits, and then just under his hat here. Now there is a piece of hair there, but I colour it because I don't know, I just think it looks a bit odd. Then with the light, back in we go and colour the rest of him in. He starts to come to life a bit when you start colouring him in. There we go. Keep his belly white, because I like to have a white belly on my penguin. I did colour some of the penguins in, rather than going for black, which might come across a little harsh, I've gone for like a smoky slate on some of them in the past. No worry, Liz, we'll speak later. So there's his body and his face done, and then last bit we'll get this scarf done, and then we can bring the card together. And then I do the sentiment last, which sounds odd, but once you've put your card together you then know what space you've got left to be dabbling with. So he looks really cute. Now I chose penguins because at the time my children and I, we love to use blends and colour in these like outline stamp sets such as this one. And my son is penguin mad, so when this set came out to be tested, he chose the penguins to be on the front of the card. And this was before I'd decided to go with an inky background and all of that. In fact, his recent birthday card was made with this penguin. In fact, there was 7 of them. 6 of them, and they spelt out his name. I drew the letters of his name onto the white part of the bellies. So his birthday card had lots of penguins with hats on. Right, there we go. Well done if you've managed to stay with me so far. So we've got his penguin, we've got his trees, we've got a little snow scene, we've got our background, we've also got our card base. So first things first, let's get this base onto the card back. And I'll be using my seal for this. Just all along the edges, as close as you can, because you want to, with the heat embossing, mine isn't too bad, but it does have a little bit of a kink to it. So I'll just put a little bit extra on just to be sure that it stays stuck. And then it's stuck to me. There we go. Get this nice and central on our base here. There we go. So then we want a little snow scene at the bottom here. So again, I'm just going with seal on this too. If you're not comfortable with going straight with a tape runner, because it does mean you pretty much commit to where it's going with no wiggle room whatsoever, then multi-purpose liquid glue, so Tombow, would be ideal for this. So down that goes. And then I've used mini dimensionals on the back of the trees, and I've used larger ones on the back of the penguin himself. So they're not the right ones, there's the right ones. So I popped 2 on the back of him, one at the bottom, one at the top, like so. And he is the placement for everything. Shall I pop him there? There he is. And then with these trees, I literally pop 1 on each. You couldn't pop 2, I suppose, but I overlap them, so I find 1 is the right amount. I need my nails back though, because peeling the back of these mini dimensionals when you haven't got any nails is tricky. Right, so peel the first one, and we're going to go to the left first. And just pop that. I pop it quite high on the snow like so. And get our second one. Did that even come off? No, it didn't. There it is. Just overlap it ever so slightly. And then I do the same on the other side of the card with the remaining two. So, 1. And 2. So that leaves us with the final thing to do. So from the same set, Freezing Fun, this time I've gone with the same sentiment that we've gone with on this card, and it's this one up here, and it says life's better when we're having fun together. And I have gone with the darkest colour, so we've gone with Night of Navy. And what's this on? This is on a G block. So I'll just ink that up. And then this is where you cross your fingers and hope that the last action you're doing on the card isn't the one that's going to mess it up. So if I would have been better putting that on maybe a larger block, so I had a bit more of an area to see what I'm doing. Ah, bingo! So I'll pop this away before I put my hands in it. But there we go. So that's how you make your, I call it an ink emboss resist technique. I don't know what the correct terminology is, but there we go. So I'll show you the one my daughter made. So she used exactly the same sets, but she went more rainbow than I did. And she's actually used 7 colours because she's a bit greedy, you see. So she's gone with, I think, and don't quote me on this, I think she started with Real Red, Pumpkin Pie, I think she went Daffodil in the middle, Granny Apple Green, I think that's, I want to say Bermuda Bay, and then she ended with a good bit of Rich Raspberry. And yeah, she's used the rabbit instead, and she's added some snowballs at the bottom and gone with a bit of a fun wee because the rabbit's skiing. But yeah, there we go. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll all have a go yourselves, and I'd love to see your versions. And what we're doing next week. So I am around next week, same time, same place, and we're making this next week. So this is a box to house some blends to gift. So I've snuffed one out of it when I was prepping ready for tonight's live, but as you'll see, it fits 10 blends in there. So I'll be showing you how I made this next week. Now, I was inspired to make this by Halsey, who Halsey showed off this stamp set called All Things Fabulous, and I didn't have the stamp set and it didn't interest me until I saw Halsey use it. So Halsey, it's all your fault. It's all your fault I've spent money on the stamp set and the dies, but it does look gorgeous, so I'll let you off. So yes, that's what we'll be making next Friday at 7:30, same time, same place. If you want all the measurements and the products used in today's live, they will be over on my blog in the morning. So yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube as a replay, all the links and everything that you'll need is down in the description bar. Please like and subscribe, follow my Facebook page, and you'll see more like this every Friday. I've got some thing to share with you soon, but I'm not quite at the stage where I can give away the news yet, but we've got something special coming up soon with my Facebook lives. I'll let you know that as soon as possible. So just as a quick reminder for those that joined slightly later, my hostess code for August, so that's HETXVZQX, and for every qualifying order over £30, that's £30 before shipping and before any discounts, etc., you will get a paper sampler of papers that no one can get their hands on it anymore because they're all retired. So you'll get 24 6x6 sheets in a paper sampler as a thank you for shopping with me. If you have any queries, questions, want to know how you can earn a discount by shopping with Stampin' Up, then please drop me a message. Or if you want to be added onto my weekly and monthly newsletters, drop me a message and I'll get you added to those too. So thank you everyone for joining me this evening. Thanks for your lovely comments. They don't go missed, and I am appreciative of everything that you say. And I'll see you all next week, same time, same place. Bye!